Hey everybody, Jared Lyles with Jared and Lyles PC. We are a general practice law firm here in Silver Hill, Alabama, and today we're going to be talking about child support. We get a lot of questions in the firm with people calling in if maybe their spouse has gotten a new job or they're making less money or something like that. Just trying to figure out if they did a modification, what their child support would be. So what we're going to do today is we're going to give kind of an example of a made-up couple. And we're going to step through what's called the CS42 form, which is the form that kind of gives us the formula for establishing child support in Alabama. So we're going to work through that, and we're just going to show you step by step how you would go about doing that. Now to start off, the first thing we got to deal with is income. You got to find out what both parties make. So in this scenario, we've got John Doe, who's the plaintiff. We've got Jane Doe as the defendant, and their little kid Johnny. They've got one child. So we're going to start off with the income for John Doe. We're going to say he makes $36,000 a year salary. Now that gives him a monthly gross income of $3,000 a month. That's the number that we use here on this form. We do not use what is being brought home. So it doesn't matter what you bring home after taxes and insurance and retirement or whatever else you get taken out. That doesn't matter. We base it off the number that you are gross salary, all right? So for John Doe, we're going to say he makes $36,000 a year. For Jane Doe, we're going to say she makes $48,000 a year. So that gives John Doe a gross income of $3,000 a month, gives Jane Doe a gross income of $4,000 a month. Now right at the top of the CS42 form, you'll see in a minute, we've got whether or not we're going to take out pre-existing alimony or pre-existing child support. Now for this scenario, we are not going to do that. We're going to presume maybe this is their first marriage or they don't have any other kids or any other alimony. And so we have a total gross income for the Doe couple of $7,000. And that's kind of where we're at right here with this first section completed. All right, so once we get to this point, what you're going to do, see this here, $7,000. Now you're going to divide this number between this number and you're going to find out what percentage each party makes. Okay, so in this scenario, what we've got is we've got John Doe makes 43% of the money and Jane Doe makes 57% of the total income of the parties. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to step down here and we're going to step to this right here. Now this is the basic child support obligation. Now you have to go online. We'll put a link in the description under the video of a place where you can go online. And you get to a formula, it's the appendix to Rule 32. And this is what the state of Alabama says it costs to raise a child based on the gross income of the parties. So in this scenario, the state of Alabama, according to the appendix to Rule 32, says that it costs $875 for little Johnny Doe to be raised. So that's our starting point. Now you also see in the next two little sections right here, we've got work-related child care and health care for the child. So we've got to add those in to get what the total child support obligation is going to be. For this purpose, let's say that the Does spend $150 a month in work-related child care. Let's say the kids in after-school care or something. It's $150 a month. And let's say that Mr. Doe, John Doe, pays $275 a month for the share of insurance that's Johnny Doe, all right, for the kids. So just that $275 is just what it costs for Johnny Doe. Now the way that we do that, let's say he covers two people, all right? Let's say he just covers himself and his son. And the total cost is $550. Now he doesn't get to kind of work out that whole $550. He only gets to take out or include here the part that is covering the child. So if it was $550 a month for him and his son, then half of that would be $275. So that's what we're going to put here. All right. So the insurance for the child is $275. We've got $150 for work-related child care. And that gives us a total of $1,300. Okay, so now we have got a new total support obligation, a total obligation that it is to raise this child for these two parties. So what we do is we take this $1,300, that's our new number, and then we're going to multiply it times these percentages, and that'll give us what each party would have in a child support obligation. So if we do that real quick math, this is what it comes out to. All right, so if we take $1,300, 57% of that is $741, and then 43% is $559. Okay, so now obviously both of these parties aren't paying. The way it generally works is that the person who is not the primary custodian of the child pays child support to the person who is the primary custodian. So we don't know that yet in this scenario. So let's assume for a moment that Jane Doe is the primary physical custodian. So we're trying to find out what John Doe is going to pay. Now, what we have to do next, though, we've got this, and so this is our first number, but what the formula allows you to do is back out any monies that are paid for health care. So we're going to take from Mr. Doe, remember he pays $275 there for the insurance that covers the child. So what we're going to do is we're going to back that number out. Okay, so what we've done is we've deducted, this is his child support obligation, we subtract the number that he pays in insurance, and we have the balance, $284. Okay, so under this scenario, he would pay $284. Now, switch that around, and if John Doe was the primary physical custodian and Jane Doe was not, then she would be paying $741. So we figure it both ways, because that's going to tell us who's going to pay regardless, or what each party is going to pay regardless of who's the primary physical custodian. But here in Baldwin County and in several places throughout the state, there is starting to become more and more common a true joint legal, joint physical sharing of the child, week on, week off, or something like that. So Rule 32, which is the child support rule, it goes ahead and figures out how you're going to do that. So in a situation where the child is spending equal time with both parties, what you then do is you subtract the biggest number from the smallest number, all right, and that gives you the difference. Okay, so in this scenario, we're going to take the 741 and we're going to subtract the 284. And so what in this scenario, if John Doe and Jane Doe were equally splitting the children, you subtract 741 from 284, and that'll give you 457. But what Rule 32 says you do is, now that you've got the difference, you divide it by 2, and so that would give you $228.50. So to take it one step further, if you are doing a week on, week off with your child, you would take it this one step further here. And in this scenario, Jane Doe would then pay to John Doe the sum of $228.50 a month in child support. All right, so we ran through that kind of quick. I tried to explain it as we went, and I hope it was pretty useful to you and that you could then go and figure out on your own, at least get pretty close as to what you would be paying in child support or what your spouse would be paying in child support based on Rule 32 and based on the CS42 form that we just stepped through. So if you have any questions, if there's anything you need regarding child support, child custody, or anything else, please give us a call. Thank you.